and we produced one book during the lifetime of that club. And this poem is called The Vengeance Egg. And it's sort of poignant today, especially after the deaths of Holly and Jessica in England. And it's about Western society today and how greedy we are and how disembodied we are, and really how we never really care about anything unless it hurts us or pains us or runs us down like a juggernaut. So the vengeance egg. I am no longer angry. The city is a squeal of private places, burned out and concave, filled with the odour of the flesh of pigs. We must be brave. Civilization cannot be very far. I see it in children. I see through my black eyes the chalk lines scratched on a pavement, their mad bodies growing in the cracks. Suffer the children, but that image melts like a water ice in a hot mouth. I am a shaman who invites you to trip, to journey, to panic, to be childlike. A child is absolute, absolute as the dead, a fuck. We do not know the vocabulary of innocence. Turn your mirrors to the wall. I am here for you. Like Marilyn Monroe and Jesus Christ, I am here for you all. The performer, the tall order, I am the audience too. And I'm watching you get off and what you see and smell and hear and fear. Imagery comes from here, 0 places. You are blood-sucking vampires. You are nothing. You don't even count. We see ourselves in mirrors and dance. We are animated spiders with 4 legs missing. We look, and we are funny aware. Aphrodite is laughing from her belly. Our pupils swell. Skull, bones, skin, hair, nails. We are eels with limbs, sensuous in our heavy aquarium. Our sex stares at us. Cronus, the vision escapes through pores. The whole earth is an eye. Oh, but we are stubborn, pulling back the curtain, the unborn that will not leave to devour the world. The world will devour the child unless he learns how not to be. Mammy, won't you swallow me? Hera, Hera, here I am. Won't you swallow the seed and suck the root? Hera. We are doomed, the severed centre, scooped out between the legs. A cracked head, blind and sensual. We see ourselves in mirrors and reflect too much. We use our bodies to talk. We are the ventriloquist. We sink to the bottom of the aquarium. A catfish sucks mud. We are the voyeur, the peeping Tom, the cerebral rapist, the hood. The workers riot. Business is not good. Civilization cannot be very far. The moon, the stars, children with soft puppet bodies running in the streets. We must lose the beast. You are alone, and the child, and the mother. We sniff each other. Life goes on burying children. Corpses have flat bellies. I am nursing a child. I am Cam, already a mother. There is no need to be conceited. I have a witness. The headless chicken. I am one, tomorrow 0 makes me none. There are no more negatives sitting bald in baskets, stuck with a feather from the belly of a dada bird. No more nothing, a rotten blindness. No sensual pleasure to be got from an egg, a lay. Cock-a-doodle, nothing to do. Today, tomorrow 0. Our play has a homosexual hero who died because he lived too long. Life goes on and on and on, like the erosion of Babylon. Now, I think I'll follow that with 2 light kind of fishy poems. I went through a phase of being obsessed with writing poems about animals, and then I progressed to birds, and then fish, and then insects. They weren't all good, but these 2 managed to get published. The first one is called The Trout. He gripped her like a trout from a running dream, pressing fingers there between clammy gills, hanging above her, slow-moving as the evening sky. Her body surged, gulping him like mayfly. salmon. When he fights the flow, she will race before him, aggravating the air with a curved spine and falling hair, gnashing water with teeth and tail. She will scud his watery back and start, ancient from the sea, repeating to herself loud mythologies, small as fish eggs. Now, the next poem, Michael Bengal in Galway was looking for bawdy poems for his Burning Bush magazine. So I thought, what a wonderful opportunity. So I sent him down everything I had. And he sent me back a letter and said, Kate, I'm afraid I can only take one because the rest, are a bit unpublishable. So I said, right, okay, fair enough. So this is called Miss Lazarus Tells All in the Great Vein of Tabloid Press. Sometimes I wonder about my cap and bells. I gave myself to you like a communion wafer. If only I could have been less Christian after you raised me from the dead. Now I make connections between erections and resurrections. You are the architect of Gothic legs, tongues that flame inside my head, fingers that poke and stir. You make me purr and purr and purr. How I would like to believe in love. Do you hear the bells? The bells? Esmeralda, Esmeralda, the hunchback is at it again. Notre Dame at the foot of our bed. The next poem is called The Moon 99, and it's about growing up as a child and the sort of worries and little upsets that you have. I never knew it then, the world of men, my father the hero with his brown leather jacket and bottles of red lemonade. I waited until he came home and swayed like a paper cowboy in the front door that stuck when the weather was wet. I was his little girl, his pet. My mother with her wooden spoon liked to lock herself in the big room and wouldn't be seen for days. My father, the hero, tempting her with trays of Lincoln biscuits and sugary tea. She was far away from me. It hurts to return to a past, a cast of souls with big eyes walking on the balls of their feet, hobbling. I was a child who wouldn't go to sleep, preferring to creep on the landing, the stairs. Avoiding statues, I muttered complicated prayers, curses that squeezed into my brain, picked up from careless workmen. Words, words, and no one to tell. Mother would go to hell. I realize now how sad and lonely she must have been. A young woman with thin lips sulking in between walls. The same age as me, with 3 small children and another on the way. I worry this day, and sit in my window and stare at the moon, like I used to do in the box room. See how easy it is for clouds to disappear. The sky can empty and clear. I am glad to be here, and open my arms wide, to embrace the restless child. The next poem, The Sassy Shoe, is from my grandmother. And my grandmother was sort of stuck in her house for years because she was very sick. She had very bad arthritis. But she was amazing. She used to get people coming to her from miles around telling them all the gossip. So like, she was like the local telegraph. And she always insisted on wearing full makeup, which was like sort of orange face powder and this garish red lipstick. So she was quite frightening if you didn't know her. You'd sort of step back a few paces. But she was very... A lot of my poems would be influenced by her about witches, because she was always into glamour and glamorous and this sort of old era glamour. And I remember once looking up the word glamour in a book, and witches would use their glamour to charm men. And I'll let you think the rest up yourselves. So The Sassy Shoe. I almost knew you and your peculiar obsession for young girls, flat-chested and bald as lemons with sour wounds. You loved me then when I was bright and a Stella to the eye of man, would have to die before I could bloom, laburnum that grew fibrous in a tomb where a baby girl had come out dead. I was 20 when that procession of women came to kiss your head, crying amen, and I was scared when they buried you. My mortality had come true, vulgar as one rosy toe busting from a sassy shoe. What could I do? I do not do anything anymore. I am hurt, I am sore like my white foot in that small shoe, the pair given me by you for special wear on a Sunday. Living is too big for death, and death does not do for dancing. I press my genitals to the blade and sway to a peculiar music played on bones, romancing what I can never know. Let it be so, and so I said I do. To come to terms with blood and cunt that makes me woman and you woman too. A woman with a flat foot who wore a sassy shoe. The next poem is called Meditation on Life After Dali, and I love the work of Salvador Dali because it's completely off the head, and the colours in it and the dream sequences and all that. So I tried to write a poem that would be a surreal poem using language. Sand flat sea-clad fingers into the arsehole of the sea. This is me, this is me. Half awake watching, I am tumbling dooms. Eyes, sunbursts, vastness of grey, empty of sea and sky. I am old as rooms at the end of August day, rooted with giant rock performing arches and pillars. My clumsy tongue, a fishing boat's rise and fall, licking out the armpit of a wave. That groin of beaches and groan with the slap and throb of universe. My ear hears caves, a note from primeval mouths. I recognize the sound of hunger. It is a palsy of echoes. The answer is parabolic, diabolic with hooves, leaving pockmarks in the sand. God, 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 stuck dry to a rock like a dead god's wing, an apology for every human thing. The heart is a jellyfish that dissolves and dissolves in the sun, and those razor shells that whiten in air are bones. They carry the coded messages of lost sailors, fishermen and children mollified by the sea. I shriek the praise of fishy flat fertility. A horn measures distance, the mackerel grins at destiny. Knuckled cliffs, arthritic and grandmotherly, are reeling claws scratching at the gnashing jaws of water. This leviathan shaped like a pregnancy terrifies me. Grass tops and a heap of rocks become a cemetery. Going on to another poem, again in relation to witches. This is called The Talking Stiletto, and it's about a woman burnt as a witch and what she thinks as she's standing at the stake. I am the voice of 9 women talking at once, steadily detached, glutinous, discussing prayers and spares, awkwardly bumping with planets that are colossal but colourless, relating the epic of the mutilated groin that is divine. It has to be divine. We pretend to be colder than we are and eat the sex organs of a dolphin. This is because we remember the chaste rhythm of the sea and dread the narwhal with his tusk. We 9 are a star cluster, dancing together on a dark patch made by a ton of blood. We sit, dipping fingers into a cup, humming a song that is nasal, more wine. We are Christ with housemaid's knee, incomplete without our toiletries. We are the daughters of colonials, an organized group living close together, and with our infrastructure of clotheslines have become experts on the weather. Our mothers were born in interesting times, when the universe was a disk, and I, the voice of 9 women, was burnt as a witch. This is a recent poem. It's called Wicked Witch, and it's based on something somebody said one day to me, and we were giving out about men. And somebody turned around and went, she's only a man, this kind of thing. So I thought, wait, hold on a minute, So I was cross all day and I sat down and I wrote this. It's called Wicked Witch. And it's in the character of a very wicked witch indeed. Why should women put up with it? That he's a man and didn't mean it? Are they less equipped for life? I think so. I've seen it. Should they come between twit and twat? I'm happier when I squat. I'll never be some man's wife. Stir the pot and shake it twice. I like my bread with jam. Look up my hole, I don't give a damn. This is the way I am. If you don't like me tough, I live hard and talk rough. I drink from a broken cup. I'll tell you when I've had enough. I hear your voice but won't look up. You daren't talk down to me. I'm a wicked witch, you see, with spells and potions and bad luck. And you, my dear, can king puck all your way to fair. And as for your didn't mean it, that won't come between me and a ripping pea in Phoenix. Now I'm going to do a sort of older poem. It's called The Chosen One. And it's about those women who live on their own up these sort of grassy boreens, and they go to devotions and they go to mass and they say their prayers, and sometimes they can be quite bitter and nasty. And I remember when I was small, cycling around the lanes and boreens of Tipperary, if I ever bumped into one of these spinster types, I'd be down the lane again like the hammers of hell, because I thought they really were witches. But obviously they weren't, they're just sad old ladies. The Chosen One. Take up your black beads and say the rosary. Content your soul with fasting and prayer. Never mind the memory of what men said. All men are candle ends when the cock crows morning. Hail Mary, Holy Mary. Hail Mary, Holy Mary. Women can be proud and solitary, astonished as Martello towers, worshipping deities of a pagan age. Odin will never sail the longboat into battle, but the soul claims its own slave. Hail Mary, Holy Mary. Hail Mary, Holy Mary. Then keen woman, a horse and trap rattling up a boreen. Keen the white of April fields, the thorn where you hang your beads, the tower that surrendered to the sea, the generation locked inside your ribs, the shamble of stones and wiry grass. Hail Mary, Holy Mary. Hail Mary, Holy Mary. Now for a bit of lightness, so you don't all commit harakiri. This is a new poem and it's called The Little Green Man in the Traffic Light. That little green man in the traffic light allows me to go anywhere. From Dame Street to O'Connell Bridge, Bagot Street to Merrion Square. I think I'm growing fond of him, or maybe it's just a crush. Because now when he mouths go, I never want to rush. There has never been a man who was more attentive. If I'm to have my wicked way, I have to be inventive. I grip him tight almost every day, but he's rooted to the spot. I have freedom of movement. Alas, the little green man does not. That's for all the ladies out there. The next one, let's see. Persian Beards. I wrote this for my friend William Kennedy, and we used to meet in chimes in Rathmines and have a chat now and again. And there was this large clock there with the sort of thing that goes around in the chimes, and he thought it was wonderful, I thought it was annoying. So this is for him, Persian, and he was growing a beard at the time because he was involved in some play, so I wrote this for him. The dome is reading in the dome, Aristophanes, the poet and the women. Sooner or later the clock will chime, seed head of a dandelion. Then it is time, then it is time. For coffee and creation, to ignore the wheels and machinery making carping noises and grind. Time to leave it all behind, ringing in your ears like 12, like 12, like 12. Sirens sitting on a clock, a lonely experience. It's all so much Greek, tick-tock, tweak, tweak. It's all so Asia Minor, ancient as cities, one conscious universe. He created them. God was perverse to tuck me in and call me woman. I am moon goddess. I and musical with a lesion towards Wagner. I want to be alone, I am lemon soul. You try to understand, but I have known it all before. The fabulous perfection of a white rabbit, striking a pocket watch and disappearing down a hole. Yes, I've known it all before, and always come back on the last chime. Breakfast, dinner, tea time. The chime sounds one, it was struck before. The chime sounds one, then no more. Eliminated, unrecorded, those long Persian beards we all return to. This poem, Merciful Release, is a poem, a sort of scatological poem. I'll just go ahead with it. Day opens her piss flaps, curling like some flower dandelion, and I recline and folded by hands that creased me, wrong me, I am marred by the collapse of violence. Your face, a play on memory, pale and strange when I am underwater. Yellow curtains, pathetic as Van Gogh's sunflowers, heave and weep pureness light into my decrepitude. Then you, hummingbird, kiss me. Sticky honey tongue, hum hum, hum hum, hum cum, humdrum. Ghosts linger in blue doorways like the contrails of jets walking the line in the sky. I fall from underwater, or is it the sky? The sky is falling. My sanity wears the ladybird shell, avoids bright lights, bell jars, and the sudden movements of your hand. And I think it's 2 o'clock, so thank you all for coming and